Today, history records another major event. Crimea, a region that has been under Russian control for the past decade, has been recaptured by Ukrainian forces. In a military operation full of strategy and courage, Ukrainian forces have successfully pushed back Russia's elite Spetsnaz troops from several key points in Crimea. The attack began before dawn, when NATO-trained Ukrainian special forces conducted a surprise maneuver in the southern part of Crimea. With the support of sophisticated intelligence and high-precision weapons, Ukrainian forces were able to penetrate Russian defenses that had previously been considered impossible to destroy. The feared Spetsnaz elite unit was forced to retreat after suffering heavy losses. Some sources say that more than 300 Russian personnel were killed or wounded in the battle, while dozens of armored vehicles were destroyed on the spot. Ukrainian field commanders called this success a bright spot in the nation's long struggle. Crimea is not just land. It is a symbol. A symbol of dignity, freedom, and the right to sovereignty. Ukrainians greeted the news with tears of joy. In Kiev, church bells rang. In the streets, people cheered and waved blue and yellow flags. After years in the shadow of occupation, hope was finally rekindled. But this success was not without risk. Russia certainly would not sit idly by. Moscow's military is now on high alert, and the threat of a retaliatory strike could come at any moment. Geopolitical experts warned that Ukraine's victory in Crimea could trigger a major escalation. Will this be the beginning of the end of the war? Or will it be the beginning of a darker chapter in the conflict? What is certain is that Ukraine has proven one thing. They will not give up. They are not afraid. And they will not stop fighting. In his statement, President Zelensky said, "Today we are taking back what is ours. This is not the end, but this is the beginning of justice. The world is watching. Time will tell." That in the darkness of war, a light of hope can still shine, from a place called Crimea. Today, the world was shocked by big news from the heart of the Eastern European conflict. Ukrainian forces have successfully retaken Crimea from Russia. Yes, and most shockingly, the elite Russian Spetsnaz unit was repelled. This was no ordinary military operation. This was a turning point. Fierce fighting took place at several strategic points, including around the port of Sevastopol and the western coast of Crimea. According to Ukrainian military sources, the attack began at dawn. Ukrainian special forces armed with Western intelligence conducted rapid maneuvers. Combat drones, HIMARS, and ground units moved together in a well-coordinated attack. Meanwhile, Spetsnaz, Russia's most highly trained unit, was caught in the chaos. They lacked air support and were harassed by Ukrainian electronic warfare. The result? Hundreds of casualties. Independent sources estimate that more than 300 Russian soldiers were killed or wounded, and dozens of combat vehicles were destroyed. Footage from the battlefield showed Russian troops in a hasty retreat, some abandoning their heavy equipment. This showed that Ukraine was not just defending. They were now attacking and winning. The reaction from the Ukrainian people was emotional. In Kiev and Lviv, people took to the streets in celebration. Tears of joy, national anthems, and prayers filled the country. But this victory has consequences. Russia will not be idle. A major military mobilization may be underway. And that could trigger a new chapter in the conflict that has been going on for more than 2 years. President Zelensky said in a brief speech, "Crimea belongs to Ukraine, and today we prove that." Now the question is, what will Moscow do next? Will it lead to negotiations, or an even more brutal counterattack? One thing is for sure. Ukraine has sent a powerful message to the world. They are not just surviving, they are fighting to win. And for the world, it is a reminder that courage and strategy can change the course of history. Today marks a stunning turning point in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. After years of being a disputed territory, Crimea has finally been retaken by Ukrainian forces. A major victory that has rocked not only the battlefield, but the international community. In a surprise attack that had been planned for months, Ukrainian forces pushed Russia's elite Spetsnaz units back from several strategic points in Crimea. The fighting raged fiercely since early morning, with the sound of explosions and automatic rifle fire echoing along the coastline. Ukrainian military sources say hundreds of casualties have been suffered on both sides, including a large number of soldiers from the elite Russian units. Many of them were forced to retreat, deprived of logistical support and communications. Ukrainian forces, on the other hand, have been heavily supported by Western intelligence and modern weaponry capable of penetrating Russian defenses. Combat drones, high-precision artillery systems, and highly trained infantry moved swiftly to capture key points such as the port of Sevastopol and Belbek Air Base. The return of Crimea to Ukraine is not just a symbolic victory. It is a loud message that Ukraine is still standing, still fighting, and will not give up. The world now waits. How will Russia respond to this major defeat? Will the war escalate? Or is this the beginning of the end of the long-running conflict? Here's a pro-Russian versus pro-Ukrainian debate. Finally, Crimea is back in Ukraine. After years of illegal Russian occupation, our troops have recaptured the region with clever strategy and unwavering spirit. Back in Ukraine? That's Western propaganda. The facts on the ground show that Russia is only making a tactical withdrawal. This is not a defeat, it's part of a bigger plan. Tactical withdrawal? Spetsnaz are running away, leaving behind armored vehicles and heavy weapons. Drone footage shows Russian troops in disarray. If that's what you call tactical, then the Russian military is in big trouble. Don't forget, Ukraine won with Western support. Without NATO weapons, Ukraine had no chance. HIMARS, US drones, British training, this is not a Ukrainian victory, but a Western proxy war victory. And what did Russia use to enter Ukraine? This war started with the illegal invasion in 2014. Ukraine was only defending its own land. If the Crimean people were given a free referendum without pressure, do you think they would have voted for Russia? The Crimean people spoke in the 2014 referendum. They wanted to join Russia for cultural, linguistic, and security reasons. Ukraine could not accept that, so it continued to attack. The 2014 referendum was full of intimidation, held under the shadow of the heavily armed Russian army. That was not democracy, that was occupation disguised as legality. And now Ukraine is destroying cities, killing hundreds, and claiming to be the liberator? Who really cares about the Crimean people? Ukraine cares. We want Crimea free from oppression and military control. We are fighting for sovereignty. Does Russia care? They only want strategic territory, warm seaports and geopolitical influence. And Ukraine? Are you not a pawn in the West's geopolitical game? America and NATO are sitting in the back seat, telling you to move forward. You won today, but the question is, what price will you pay tomorrow? The price of independence is high. But it is a price worth paying. Today, Crimea may be just one territory. But for us, it is a symbol that we are still standing. And Russia is not finished yet. Let's not celebrate too soon. The war is not over.